So floating in this beautiful feeling. Last week I was talking about neuroscience and happiness. I've been exploring the Book of Joy, a conversation between the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And I found some science, just because I love science, backing up everything they're teaching and everything I'm learning. And I just wanted to remind you that from last week, the article by Eric Barker reporting on a book by Alex Korb, that here is the best question you can ask yourself to activate your brain. What am I grateful for? Sometimes it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for. Guess what? It doesn't matter. You don't have to find anything. It is the searching that counts, that activates your brain. With higher emotional intelligence, it simply takes less effort to be grateful. Gratitude doesn't just make your brain happy. It can also create a positive feedback loop in your relationships. So express your gratitude to the people you care about. That was one point, being grateful. The next brain enhancing finding was label your negative feelings. Give the awful feeling a name. Is it sad? Is it anxious? Is it angry? Suppressing emotions doesn't work and can backfire on you. But all you need to do is just label it. Don't spend a lot of time. Give it a simple label, one or two. That is from the David Rock book, Your Brain at Work. So here's the bottom line for those two things. Ask yourself the question, what am I grateful for? Remember, it doesn't matter what the answer is. 2, describe an emotion in just a word or two, and it helps reduce the emotion. So those are the two things we went into depth about last week. So this week I have 2 more things from that are, and a little more science to describe to you why you might want to do these things and why they are exactly what the Dalai Lama and Archbishop have been teaching. Here's the third thing to do. Make that decision. Have you ever made a decision and then you feel relieved? That is no random occurrence. Brain science shows that making decisions reduces worry and anxiety as well as helping you solve problems. Making decisions includes creating intentions and setting goals. All 3 are part of the same neural circuitry and engage the prefrontal cortex in a positive way, reducing worry and anxiety. Making decisions also helps overcome striatum activity, which usually pulls you toward negative impulses and routines. Finally, making decisions changes your perception of the world, finding solutions to your problems and calming the limbic system. But deciding can be hard, I agree. So what kind of decisions should you make? Neuroscience has an answer. Make a good enough decision. Don't sweat making the 100% best decision. We all know being a perfectionist can be stressful, and brain studies back this up. Trying to be perfect overwhelms your brain with emotions and makes you feel out of control. Trying for the best instead of good enough brings too much emotional ventromedial prefrontal activity into the decision-making process. In contrast, recognizing that good enough is good enough activates more dorsolateral prefrontal areas, which helps you feel more in control. Don't you like it when you activate your dorsolateral prefrontal area? I know I do. So I wanted to say that I have a very strong experience with that. Because of my personality, I have always done the decision-making activity of, let's try this out. Even when quitting a job, moving, finding, getting out of a relationship, getting a new relationship, I had that part of my personality. So it was easy for me to say, let's see if this works out. So that really served me. I learned later on that also keeping at something also works, and discipline. But I have to report that it's very true that not worrying about a decision and saying, let's see if this works, is really a wonderful way. And it helps to get over that this has got to be the best and final decision. It really frees that up. So here's the other brain science about it. When you make a decision, your brain feels you have control. A feeling of control reduces stress. And here's what's really fascinating. Deciding also boosts pleasure. So that actually making the decision activates your pleasure center. So that's a good thing. Actively choosing caused changes in attention circuits and in activates how you feel about an action, and it increases the dopamine activity. We all know we want a little more dopamine activity, right? And here is an interesting sideline. This answers the question of why dragging your butt to the gym can be hard. If you go because you feel you have to go or you should go, it's not a voluntary decision, and your brain does not get the pleasure boost. It just feels stress. And that's no way to build a good exercise habit. Here is the critical point about this. The difference between joy or not joy is in our framing of the situation. If you get up and say, I have got to go to the Y today, and you know that, I gotta go to the Y today, and you go, where is the joy? If you get up instead and you decide, because you have that high emotional intelligence that we've all been working on, and you say, oh, the Y is my happy place. I can hardly wait to get there. There's people there, there's windows to look at, and I might run around the track, I might get on the stair stepper, maybe there's a yoga class. It's night and day. So, we don't just choose the things we like the things we choose. It's number 3. One more. Touch people. Not willy-nilly. That will get you in trouble. Apparently, our brain works in a way that we need to feel love and acceptance from others. When we don't, it's painful. Not awkward or disappointing, it's actually painful. Neuroscientists did a study where people played a ball-tossing video game. The other players tossed the ball to you, and you tossed it back to them. Okay, video people are tossing the ball to you. Actually, the scientists tricked the people. There were no other players. It was a program. And it was done by computer. The subjects were told that the characters were controlled by real people. So what happened when the other players stopped playing nice and didn't share the ball? The subjects' brains responded the same way as if they experienced physical pain. Like you're playing pretend ball on a computer with people who you think are, little whatever, you see the little figure and they're not throwing the ball back. You have your brain reacts as if you have physical pain. Rejection doesn't just hurt like a broken heart. Your brain feels it like a broken leg. In fact, social exclusion activates the same circuitry as physical pain. This, if you feel ignored or if you feel not included and not accepted, it's very painful to your brain. So relationships are important to your brain's feeling of happiness. Take it to the next level and get yourself some touch. One of the primary ways to release oxytocin is through touching. Obviously, it's not appropriate to touch everybody all the time. I am a card-carrying introvert. I am a certified introvert. I have a certain amount of touching and being around people I like. And all of us have different levels of that, right? So as I'm saying, get out and touch somebody, I'm also saying ask or read them, use your spidey senses, and it's not, even a small touch like a handshake, a pat on the back, and obviously the people you are close with, you have an agreement, and you may touch them more often. And maybe you have a friend you could make an agreement with. Touching is incredibly powerful. We don't give it enough credit. It makes you more persuasive, increases team performance, improves your flirting. What? Heck, it even boosts math skills. Touching someone you love actually reduces pain. In fact, when studies were done on married couples, the stronger the marriage, the more powerful the effect. In addition, holding hands with someone can help comfort you and your brain through painful situations. One MRI study scanned married women as they were warned they were about to get a small electric shock. While anticipating the painful shocks, the brain showed a predictable pattern of response in pain and worrying circuits, with activation in the insula, anterior, cingulate, and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. During a separate scan, the women either held their husband's hands or the hand of the experimenter. When a subject held her husband's hand, the threat of shock had a smaller effect. The brain showed reduced activation in both the anterior cingulate cortex and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. That is less activity in the pain and worrying circuits. In addition, the stronger the marriage, the lower the discomfort-related activity. So hug someone today. Do not accept quick little hugs. Tell them your neuroscientist recommended long hugs. Research shows getting 5 hugs a day for 4 weeks increases happiness big time. If you don't have the ability to get a hug right now, get a massage. Neuroscience says you should go get a massage. Massage boosts your serotonin by as much as 30%, decreases stress hormones and raises dopamine levels. Anyway, here's another sideline. So spend time with people and give some hugs. Texting is not enough. When you put people in a stressful situation and let them visit loved ones or talk to them on the phone, they felt better. When they got a text, nothing happened. Their brain didn't respond. It didn't actually do anything. I have a feeling that sending a text may do something for the person who sends it, but receiving a text does not do the same thing for you as getting a phone call or spending time in real life. The author of this article says he approves of texting if you're making a hug appointment. So to recap, the 4 things that neuroscience has given us about increasing happiness, which is also everything we've been learning in all our spiritual practice. Ask, what am I grateful for? Ask that. Label your negative emotions. Label your negative emotions. Give it a name. Your brain isn't so bothered by it. Go ahead and decide and go for good enough. Make a couple decisions today that are just good enough. Hugs. Don't text, touch. Let's take an offering for you.